The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackass, the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass. My name is Mikey Aaronworth. I'm joined by my brother Chris Aaronworth, who is about to introduce us to the topic of this week's episode because I mentioned Jackass. It's not on Jackass this week. It's on something special. We're continuing the trend of what, Chris?
Viva La Bam.
Ooh, Viva La Bam. Okay, you're really going back to the 90s,
I'm trying to bring it back to like 2004,
yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Whatever happened to that?
Well, speaking of the 2000s, what?
No, why don't we say Izza and Bizam and Shizam and all that stuff?
I do.
Oh, you do still? Okay, so some of us are.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, yeah.
I know you did.
And I
Just
apologize.
like usual. Oh, thank you. That's nice. You did mention us as brothers in there, and I kind of like, should I fight him right now? Like, you said joined by my brother Chris, and I was like, I don't know why.
Why?
Kind of like,
you should be proud to be my
like,
brother.
You should be proud to be mine. I'm the coolest dude in town.
You're also really good at comebacks.
You're my brother.
Okay, now we're blood brothers.
All right. Oh, brothers. All right. Well, we lost every listener that we've had potentially at this episode.
Why don't you tell us
Just
what we're
in time
doing
for
today,
the fun
Chris?
fact of the day.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing Viva La Bam season 2, episode 3. I called it Fat Boy Faceoff.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's what it's called. This episode came out on May 9th of the year 2004.
Okay.
And this was actually, for once, there was actually like a really big thing happened.
Okay. You've said this before, and then you've told us something that doesn't matter whatsoever. So I'm curious if that's what this goal is again.
Have you heard of the Grozny Stadium bombing?
The Grozny Stadia bombing. My lawyer has told me. Yeah, my lawyer has told me to say that I have never heard of it, nor was I anywhere near it when it happened. So that's my answer.
You keep growing out that mustache. You might look like you could have pulled it off. So I don't know why I'm laughing as I'm saying this. So basically, in Dynamo Stadium in Chechnya, someone set off a bomb underneath the stage of the VIP area, and it killed the president.
Oh shit!
Ahmed Kadyrov, and 100 other people were wounded. So yeah, it was a pretty.
Wait a second.
Pretty big day.
It killed one person, and that was the president?
No, I think it killed other people as well.
Okay.
But like, it killed some people, and at least 100 people were wounded on top of the people that died.
I was going to say that, like, you don't want to applaud the wrong people, but...
Oh, killed 10 people.
Oh, yeah. 10 people, including the president, and then injured 100 others. Wow. Jesus.
Yeah, not too often you have a president assassination, so yeah, it was a pretty
and not
day.
too often do you start off a podcast about Viva La Bam talking about presidential assassinations either. But here we are.
That's why I dubbed this episode Viva La Bam.
Viva La Bam. Chris, very well done. You know what? I rescind my comment about your comebacks. That wasn't especially a comeback, but you're showing you're growing in your cleverness. I want to say, you know what? You and I are always at each other's throats on this podcast for good reason on my part, not so much yours. But I do want to say this. When we started off, you had never done a podcast before, right?
Nope.
Yeah, you were brand new to it. Look at you. You've come into your own. I got to say, you've gotten really good at this.
Look at us.
Look at us. Just getting along. Not me. Not when we started this thing. I'm happy to be taken off on this journey with you, Chris. And I kind of want to spend some time in the intro, or wanted to spend some time in the intro, because this episode, we talk a lot about how season 2 has been great so far. I don't know what your thoughts are on this one. I struggled with season 2, episode 3 a little bit. Did you?
There's really not much for us to work with on this one.
It's not great, man. It's not a great episode.
Nothing. I mean, I laughed like one time. There isn't like, usually there's some kind of big finale or some kind of like their premises are a little bit more intense, and like this just seemed very bland.
Everyone looked bored. Everyone looked bored for this one. But I'll say, when I found out what the title of this episode was, which you said Fat Boy Faceoff?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because that is the title of the episode. When I found out that was the title and that it was going to be a competition between Phil and Vito, I was like, this is amazing. I was really excited about that.
Excited.
from an idea standpoint, this is a really good one, but that's kind of where it stops. Like I lost interest a little. Now it had its redeeming moments, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But I don't know if we've drawn attention to this yet. The intros, the new intros to Viva La Bam, not just the but how every episode they have a new person doing the warning kind of stipulation, that was sort of the fine print. I like that they changed that episode to episode. We had Slayer last episode. I think we had that annoying interior designer guy from the first episode, and now we've got Deco doing it. I like that. I like the new look. You know what it reminds me of a little bit is how on airplanes they do things to engage you as someone who is probably not going to want to read the safety manual. They used to put little cartoons in it, so you
weird clown instead.
Yes. So you'd have a reason to look through it, right? This is like,
I did every single time I got on the plane. I was like, what weirdo am I going to spot? There's like the guy in aisle 6 is like, has like makeup on or something weird like that, you know?
Yeah. Makeup is weird as fuck. You're right. Good example, Chris.
He's there, Mr. fucking woke.
I mean, of the two of us.
Yeah.
Probably.
Definitely not me.
No, definitely not. No.
I'm kind of having a moment where I'm like, it's just the line has been pushed so the line has been pushed so far that I'm like, I've been getting like purposely abrasively the opposite. Like, even if it's like, I don't even feel that way. Like, it's just like, you know what? Fuck you. I have enough of this fucking pushing this way. Like, I'm taking a stand. And I genuinely think a lot of the world is doing the same right now. We're about to see this weird woke revolt, I think, is happening.
My argument would be that the woke revolt is what happened prior to this, and that we may actually see some decent change as a result of what's going on. Who knows?
It's the gayest shit I've ever heard in my life. See what I'm doing? See what I'm doing there?
We see it. Well, the good news is I know we have a lot of listeners who side with you on this. They tell me all the time.
Really?
That's nice to hear. No, 100%. I am the gay lefty, as you might say. Their words, not mine.
Not far from the truth.
Yeah, why not? I'll experiment. Who knows? Let's get into this, Chris. I'll set us up. All right. Exterior, barnyard looking house, 4 cool dudes slowly walk towards the camera and then do that MTV super speed thing right up to the lens. Like the most 2000s MTV thing as well. Do you know what I'm talking about when I describe
100%.
Like, and they're holding up a picture of Vito and Phil straight up to the camera. Bam Margera is, these look like surprisingly normal kids, eh?
Yeah.
That weirds me out almost. You it's almost like the first time you see a picture of your parents as well. You're like, oh my God, you are real human beings. You grew just like I am growing. Like you forget that they actually have a past. Cause to me, Vito's always been Vito and Phil's always been Phil.
Yeah. Well, you know what's weird? One thing I noticed is it's the fat guy Faceoff, right? I've never really put a lot of conscious thought into, I just always assumed Don Vito's fatter, maybe because of his chin.
I've always assumed that as well.
But he's not. Phil is fatter.
So
his belly is way bigger, and his legs are even like maybe not his legs, but he's definitely the fatter one. I really studied it this episode.
He's thicker. He's dense. He's more dense for sure. But he has that fat that's like packed in. Like Vito is just like
he's looser fat.
He's loose. He's all over the place. He's like a I don't know, like a jelly of some sort. And I feel like Phil has Jabba the Hutt, sure. Phil though has like strong person size to him. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. And I think I never put they were walking together and you look at Vito's belly and Phil's belly. Yeah. And Phil's was surprisingly significantly bigger.
Yes.
But I never thought about it that way because Phil, to me, he doesn't seem fat to me in my brain until I'm really looking at these details. Like he seems athletic. He's kind of like a Bert Kreischer kind of guy. Like
that, I agree with. He has an athletic bigness to him for sure.
Yeah,
and we saw it a couple episodes ago when Ryan Dunn and Bam are burning his file folder full of coupons, and he tackles them, and I'm like, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that. Like the kind of guy that you see walking out of a Little Caesars with like 6 hot and readies, and then they walk straight to the stadium because it's game day and they're just a linebacker. And you're like, oh, right, you 100%. Need as many calories as you can shove in your body. Like that makes a lot of sense.
He's like a white Samoan, basically.
He's a
big
white
fuckers,
Samoan.
but they can just they're so speedy and agile, and they whoop ass. You know.
Whereas
did you know Yokozuna was Samoan?
Opposite.
He wasn't even, or Hawaiian, one of the two. I legitimately always thought he was Asian.
No, yeah, one of the tragedies of Yokozuna's story, is he just had to play a type of Asian that wasn't his actual background. But these woke people they take it too far. Like, make him wave the Japanese flag, be whatever he is.
Look, if this was this time, we wouldn't have had one of the greatest wrestling superstars of all time.
Maybe we would have had someone better. Maybe you would have had something better. How do you know?
Because he's one of a kind. No one's ever been able to do it since.
No, I mean, what if Yokozuna, the guy who plays Yokozuna, I don't know his real name.
Oh, he tried that. It just wasn't working. He was wrestling for a while. It wasn't until he became Yokozuna that stage name and that character.
True. You know what? Fuck me then.
Yeah, baby.
Fuck
I'm
me.
You over. One fat guy at a time.
One fat guy at a time.
One slur at a time.
One slur at a time, but now we've got two fat guys taking a arm wrestle against one another. That's apparently how this whole thing started. Vito and Phil were drunk at a bar, tried to arm wrestle one another. It was an apparent draw, which an arm wrestle can't end in a draw. That's crazy to me. But they decide to have a rematch in the kitchen at Castle Bam. How's that?
Because they were locked in, engaged in the middle of their arm wrestle. It's going this way. It's going a little bit of that way. They're going back and forth. You know, they got that real Predator, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Carl Weathers type situation going on. They're having this epic battle, right? It's going on for a while. And then fucking someone at the table beside them ordered hot wings, and they just fucking both at the same time unanimously gave up.
At the same time. See, I think that the arm wrestle actually started because Phil reached for the last hot wing. Vito tried to grab it. They ended up
they just power locked?
and they power locked. Bam comes by, thinks they're arm wrestling, but they're really just trying to grab that wing out of each other's grubby little hands.
Those two fighting over fucking wing over there, if they did power lock, a sonic boom would occur that would probably knock out everybody else in the restaurant.
100%. I think you're right about that one. But we don't get anything quite as dramatic when we get the rematch. It's in Castle Bam. It's in the kitchen. They take to the rematch. There's this big issue during the rematch because Phil kind of adjusts his grip in the middle of the arm wrestle, and everyone immediately is like they're all experts in arm wrestling. They're all like, you can't fucking do that, and they're all so sure of it. Is that a thing? Because they're on him right away. I've never heard that.
I don't arm wrestle. I've never I never even came close to winning one. Just never going to do it. So I don't know anything about it. But the fact that they did pull up, number one, an instant replay, and the scene from that movie with Sylvester Stallone.
Over the top.
Yeah. So I guess it is. I mean, everybody was so sure about it. There had to be some kind of rule.
Yeah, but it also just kind of seems like the thing that Vito said, and then Bam is just like, yeah, right, fuck it, let's make this a big deal. Because I looked it up, I did Google it, I didn't find any rules against doing it, and Phil is right. That's what over the top is about adjusting your grip, getting over the top, and just slamming it down. Also, over the top is about locking in your hat. You have to turn it backwards before you do, because that's the thing. There you go, Chris. If you're listening, you didn't see it. Chris is just locked in his hat and he's ready to go for the rest of the episode. But this little, by the way, the fact that there is a movie about arm wrestling and the plot of this movie is it's something. Have you seen it, by the way? Have you seen it?
No, I didn't even know that was. I was thinking it was some other movie, to be honest, like Rambo or some shit.
No, Over the Top. And the plot is that Sylvester Stallone needs to win a new truck or something. So he enters an arm wrestling tournament.
Sounds like the greatest fucking movie of all time.
It sounds amazing. But apparently it's notoriously dog shit. Obviously, but that simultaneously could be one and the same, right?
You know what? Dog shit. Something about this just popped into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't have Jay today, right? I think he's still dead from the last episode.
Right, we should have mentioned that. He's dead, but he's being resurrected as we speak, and he'll be joining us next week.
For sure. So it's kind of interesting. This is an episode about brothers.
Oh.
We're brothers.
We are brothers.
This episode about competition. We're competitive.
We're pretty competitive.
And I don't feel like getting into a big beef with you this time around. I don't have the energy today.
Okay.
So I propose...
Yeah, I definitely have more energy than you.
We settle this in a very diplomatic way. We'll make this two competitions, the arm wrestling segment and the fat guy segment. Mm-hmm. I'll take the fat guy segment. you take the arm wrestling segment, and we were both winners.
Ideal. Because right? I agree with that, because when I saw that pile of fucking wings that they had to annihilate, it looked like 20 wings that they had to get before finishing the route. We'll get to it in a little bit. I was like, there's no way I could just dummy all those in a heartbeat.
I'll give you the arm wrestle. You give me the food.
All right, deal. I'm good for it. And cool. You know what? I won't even have to readjust my grip. This is the thing though about Stallone. Like, I had this thought when I saw, I was like, right, he was in a movie about arm wrestling. That's crazy. And it probably did really well in the box office because it was Stallone. Was Stallone the 90s version of Will Ferrell? The
Not even close.
80s, 90s version of Will Ferrell?
No.
In the sense that you could basically just have any premise, put him in the movie, and people were going to watch it. Because Will
Ferrell's funny.
No, I know. He's the action star version of Will Ferrell. But like the actor that you can have any premise, put him in it, and it's going to do well.
Keanu Reeves.
But I think you're missing my point here, Chris. I'm not talking about the best actor in the world. I'm talking.
Okay. It's not me missing your point. I just completely disagreeing with it.
No.
See, we're back to beef again.
I'm
fucking beat you in the arm wrestling. You're fatter than me. It's official.
Fuck, how did that happen so quickly? I had it.
Imagine all of a sudden the screen just starts changing, your face just starts swelling up, and mine starts shrinking in.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome if it was only that easy.
Anyway, I think the fact that you could put Will Ferrell in a figure skating movie and people would go see it is the same as the fact that you could dump Sylvester Stallone in an arm wrestling movie and people would go see it. People were going to see the actor, not the premise.
Yeah, and I think Keanu Reeves would win in everything that you're saying.
But that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying. All right, moving on. We joined Phil and Vito for the Fat Boy Faceoff 2004. They got sweaters. I would love one of those sweaters, by the way. Imagine wearing one of those Fat Boy Faceoff 2004 sweaters.
Let's get some made.
We should. Maybe we'll sell them on our I don't know, some merch store or something like that. We should make a note of that.
We got to start making some money off this shit, man. Fuck you guys. The fans.
Right. We didn't ask them for any money yet. You can't say.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, but I mean, I just meant like whatever. I want to make some money.
Chris is coming in hot. He's hostile, man.
So if we get it, and then we could start selling this, it's a win-win. See, I'm all about compromises and mutual decisions today. So they get a cool shirt, and we get rich.
That's a great idea. Let's do it.
And we also keep doing the podcast. So
are you saying we're not going to keep doing it if people don't buy our sweaters?
100%.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it from Chris. You got to buy our non-existent sweaters. Otherwise, this thing's fucking done. Let me ask you, Chris, when we see Phil and Vito walking side by side, you're thinking one thing. Phil wins this for sure, right?
A million percent.
No fucking way.
No
Vito
doubt in my
wins
mind.
this.
Whether it's a battle of brains, whether it's the only thing that Vito could win at is a disgusting food eating competition.
100. Yes. I agree I very much agree with that.
Or maybe a food eating competition in general.
In general, I also think that he could do that because we get the hoagie hustle, which is event 1. And the first thing Phil says is, I shouldn't have eaten that whole lasagna before starting. It's like, dude, you're about to have a competition. Why are you eating? By the way, when he says a lasagna, I'm picturing full tray, and I bet you I'm right.
Yeah, no, I'm not. He's not just eating the corner piece. Remember that time when I freaked out about the corner piece?
Oh, yeah. You left the family dinner because you couldn't get a corner piece. On Christmas. And you ruined Christmas for everyone because you couldn't get the corner piece. Yeah, you did.
Well, because I fucking called it and someone took it. I was really pissed off. Everyone was making a joke about it and pissing me off. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to go sit in the basement by myself. And then I started laughing at myself thinking how stupid that was. And I had to come up and like my tail between my legs.
Well, you know what? We had a great dinner before you came back up.
Yeah, I bet you did.
We really did. I agree though. So the idea of this one is basically like a carrot on a stick, but it's a sub on a stick. I only recently learned that hoagies were subs. I thought hoagies were like a pastry.
Yeah, like the hoagies that you buy in or Twinkies. I think I was thinking a hoagie was like a Twinkie.
Yes, that's what I was kind of thinking the same thing, but no, hoagies are basically sub sandwiches. They're either submarine sandwiches, hoagies, or there's one other term for them, but like hoagies like a Pennsylvania or Chicago affectation, I think.
I could definitely see those two places, those two shitholes. Hoagie.
Oh my god, yeah, 100%. I mean, these like Phil and Vito could be the mascots for those places.
Everybody looks like them there.
Everybody looks like
everybody. You ever been to Chicago? In that accent, that Chicago accent? Oh my god!
The Chicago accent sounds like someone they have hoagies in their mouth
all
the time.
Yeah, 100%. exactly.
100%. Granted, we're sitting here as Canadians with a notoriously make funnable accent. So
there's no fucking way, bud. There's no fucking way they're making fun of these fucking accents, bud.
What's that all about? The idea is it's the first to cross the finish line, or I don't know if you noticed this, but it's the first to either cross the finish line or get their hands on the hoagie. Now, if that's the rule, the first thing I'm doing, lay on your back or jump face down. So you snap this twig and get the hoagie like right away. But they don't, they both run after it. This was one of the things I saw where I was like, okay, I like the visual. I like them having like the carrot on the stick at the end of the stick and them chasing after it like a fucking goblin chasing Scooby-Doo or something like that. Like that was good. I liked that. But the actual comedy in the race is sort of non-existent. Like it kind of ends, and the best part about it is when you see them sitting face to face eating each other's hoagies. Like that was a nice visual. Did you like this one at all? Did it do anything for you?
I thought I was gonna like it, just like, you know, I got excited, but I think when there's a competition and it's clear they're not really trying, like I'm a competitive person. It's like, I want 100% in. I want to see who to actually, I think that was the problem with all of this. It was just, they didn't give a fuck. It was just like, okay, let's just run through the motions. Like, I want to see them running full fucking sprint against each other, you know? Like, I want to see it, take it to that level. And because it was just like, half-assing it, like, it just didn't really do much for me.
And you know what? It's not just the competitors that it seemed like were kind of half in, half out. It was Bam and the crew as well. This episode had such, like, we woke up hungover and forgot we had an essay due vibes. Like they just realized they had to submit an episode to MTV or something like that and just get 100%. Something done. It's like they were rushing through it. And you see that at the start of the next event 2, Bam's just like, it's the chocolate challenge. And everyone's like, what? He's like, the cakewalk, spin the slob. Like he's just coming up with these things off the top of his head. No one planned this shit. It's like, honestly, this is my theory on the episode. They stayed out way too late the night before. That's when the arm wrestle happened. They thought that'll be a great episode tomorrow. They wake up hungover. It seems like a better idea when they're drunk, so they didn't really prepare for it. And now they're just stuck trying to figure it out. And Bam's drinking water the whole episode too, which you don't really see that often. So I'm like, I bet you he was just really hungover. His ideas weren't flowing. Vito and Phil were probably hungover too, and just like couldn't wait to get this done. That's the vibe that I had on this one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's funny when basically the premise is they spin them around in circles, and then they have to find this cake, and they're out in the kind of snow, it's slushy, icy, whatever the case is. The thing that I thought was kind of funny is like after they spin them and they're dizzy, Bam's pushing Phil in a direction. If I'm blindfolded, the last fucking I get what Phil started going the other way, and they're like, where are you going? We're trying to trying to help you. Yeah. The last thing I'm going to do is go the direction Bam tells me to go when I'm fucking blindfolded. Right? That's all I'm thinking. I'm like, I'm going the opposite way because that's the furthest possible way away from the danger that he's trying to send me towards.
And you just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And it isn't until Ape starts actually saying, no, this way. He's like, okay, she's not going to fuck me over. And that's how he ends up making it through. But I just thought that was kind of funny because I'm like, are you fucking crazy? I'm not going where you tell me.
Yeah, especially like, you know, what if this were the blindfold race that we got in Jackass 4.5?
Right?
Like something like that. You think they're going to make it didn't seem like anyone had the wherewithal to make a decision like that on this day. But Vito does the same thing. And this made me laugh so hard because they're all like, Vito, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. And he just like doesn't course correct at all. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, Earth's round. I'll get that on my way back. Like, I'm just going to keep going this way. And I'll see you guys in like 80 days. That's how long I'm going to.
I just picture this montage of like kind of like a Dragon Ball Z thing when he's up in that fucking other planet and you just see Vito like and it's like 7 years later. Oh, there we go.
He comes back. He's ripped as fuck. He's been just like trekking his whole. He looks like Tom Cruise in Forrest Gump or something like that.
Or like Quagmire's right bicep when he found out about the fucking internet.
Yeah,
I thought that thing was for nerds. Hey, Quagmire, how you doing? Yeah, I got to get back in there. His biceps just giant.
You love referencing Quagmire on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You love Quagmire.
Do I do that a lot? I didn't realize.
You do that a lot.
That's why it kind of caught me. I was trying to think, and I'm like, did I say that?
You're like, oh shit, do I? But Vito, like, even once they start to give him corrections and he starts to pay attention, they're like, left, left, left. He just doesn't turn left. And he's complaining. He's like, left again. You guys are making me go in circles. He hasn't gone left in the first place. He's heard them say left. He's forgotten that he hasn't course corrected whatsoever. And then he gets mad at them for trying to help him. At the end of it, Phil wins this one handedly. I think he was like 1 minute and 20 seconds and Vito was like over 4 minutes. But the funny thing about this at the end is Vito's sitting there and he's perplexed and he's complaining. He accuses Phil of cheating, right? That's his big thing. He's like, Phil cheated. He was peeking. It took Phil 1 minute and 20 seconds to grab a cake that was 15 seconds away. If he was cheating, he's the worst fucking cheater in the world.
That's that brother blindness. You could not allow your brother to beat you.
That's it. The only way they win is if they cheated.
They cheated.
So they get Dunn to try to do this, and he tries to sprint. He falls and just utterly fails. They don't even show how long it takes, and then it's like, I don't know. We'll move past that one because I think that was a bit of a slip and fall in the episode as well. Event number 3, we get, I think, the best named event from this episode, the Slobstacle course. Which is great. Basically, all they have to do is start laying down on their back, get up, crawl under a fence, eat some wings, go do like one of those tire obstacle courses, eat some wings and cross the finish line. This is the moment where I'm like, oh fuck, they don't have a plan for this one, do they? Like this was just so haphazardly put together. And it feels like, you mentioned at the beginning that Phil and Vito just feel like they're not in it. The first thing they start do is just rolling around and like, it looks like the beginning of a porn scene. They're just undressing each other for no reason. Like, what a weird move for Phil to do, to just pull Vito's pants down and point to his ass. Like, what are you trying to do?
This is so out of context. I don't even know if I want to say this because I want to do it to you one day, but someone gave me the best idea.
Okay.
When you're fishing and someone catches a big fish, they're holding it up, you fucking pants them with the boxers down and everything. Because they're just right as the picture's about to be taken, because they're not going to want to fucking drop the fish. So they're just hanging dog, and you hope it's a fucking cold day too. It's just fucking, I was like that. I want to do that to Dad. That's what we'll do. We'll get Dad that way.
Do you want to see Dad's dick though?
I kind of do, because I haven't since I was a kid, when I didn't even know that dicks could grow yet. Like when you're like a little kid and you're like, man, what the hell? And then all of a sudden
it's massive, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, is that in my head or
what would your, like, imagine your thought? What if Dad has a really small dick? I don't want to know that.
I wouldn't be able to look at them the same way again.
You'd never be able to look at him the same way.
I would every time I see him, I'd rub him on the head like, hey son, how's it going?
I would honestly, what I would do is say, how's it going? That's how I would meet him all the time. He'd be like, hey Mikey, long time no, it's been months. Where have you been? I'd be like, yeah, Dad, I've been around. How you doing? And he'd be like, why do you keep talking to me like that? I'm like, you know, Dad.
Yeah, that is a scary thing. Because I just, like, maybe we got it from Gigi's side. I'm sure he had a fucking hog for sure.
Oh, he was a farmer in Winnipeg. Yeah,
he had big ass hands. Like he was definitely packing steel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who do you think of our relatives had the biggest dick?
Probably Gigi. And if not, so. Uncle Mark, I feel like, for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Mark, maybe Uncle Mark.
I can see that. Yeah, he's got that big dick energy for sure.
Big dick energy.
Guy swings into Brazil. This is inside baseball from our family. Swings into Brazil for like a month, comes home with a wife, marries her. Like, yeah. Who knows? You know what? One day we'll find out. One day we'll have a big family reunion. We'll exhume our grandpa and we'll report back on the podcast and find out.
Imagine it's Ryan. And we're like, man, fuck, no wonder why he always wanted to be called Cock and Balls Aaronworth.
Our cousin does want to be called Cock and Balls Aaronworth. That's true. For some reason. Me think the lady doth protest too much is my thing there. So after Vito and Don are done pulling each other's clothes off, they do the little tire obstacle course. What's wrong?
I can't believe that actually question got posed. What do you think out of our relatives? It's a hard one for me to pass. And how much I really was genuinely trying to think about it. That's the worst part.
Do you think Dad would be upset that we didn't even consider him in the running? I feel oh my God. I can't. Oh my God. I feel like this is true. This is a true concern I'm having. All right. We're getting back on track. I remember I was having dinner with mom once. And she had a moment where we were talking about her mom, our Baba, Gigi's probably lucky wife. And my mom started crying because she's like, I just thought of a question that I don't know. And the only person who could give me the answer is my mom. And she started crying. She's like, that's something that I will never be able to know again. And as we're having this discussion, Chris, I'm feeling like maybe as a family, we should have this discussion because it feels irresponsible not to know. What if you or I are carrying the torch now for the biggest living Wang in the Aaronworth family? I feel like we should know that. That feels like a responsibility. I should, like a birthright in Game of Thrones. Like, who is it going to be passed down?
Just get us all standing in a line.
Yes.
Let's drop them, boys. Do we get to fluff first?
No fluffing.
I need to fluff. Now I'm definitely not winning.
All right. Well, Chris is out.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe it is Ryan. All right. Okay. Moving on. Look, we said this at the beginning of the episode. There is not a ton of substance to Viva La Bam season 2, episode 3. So we were going to go a little bit off the rails here. They eat this ton of wings. This is the one I was talking about where they sit down and they have to eat like a full tray of wings before crossing the finish line. And it's impressive that they both do it. Vito crosses the finish line first, and that puts us at Phil 2, Vito 1, as Chris is desperately trying not to laugh. You okay?
I'm trying so hard. I apologize. You almost had me off there because you told a story about mom crying, and I was like, oh, I don't like the sound of that. That's really sad. But then you brought it back again. Okay, I'm off topic. Let's go. Don't do that. Why are you doing that to me, man?
I don't know. I'm just going to see if you're going to break. That's okay. All right.
I'm good.
So we finished the physical challenges. That's what that last obstacle course was. The slopsicle course. Okay, and here we're back. We're back. He can't do it. He
broke me, man.
You know what, Chris? I don't know why I started this episode by saying you've become a professional podcaster. I should have chosen another episode. I should have chosen another one, but it's fine. Look, we laugh because it's funny. I'm with you. We had a good conversation. We talked about our family's dicks. And now it's time to put that in the past, get it out of our minds.
It's just that part about you.
He's got to be upset.
He's
got to be upset.
We got to clip this or something like that because he's not going to listen to the episode. But now we're going to make him. But if we do, then he's going to wonder if we're talking more shit about him, and then he's going to have to start listening.
That's true. That's true. We'll get that clip. We'll put it up on our TikTok. And by the way, hey, if you're out there listening, you can join us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Jackast Make sure you do that. It's fun. And if you have any questions and comments about Viva La Bam Season 2, let us know, jackastpod@gmail.com. We may as well insert this into the middle of the episode as well, because some of you may not listen to the after show commentary. But we're moving on, because now it's not as much about a physical battle. It's about a battle of the wits. It's event for the game show. Bam, weirdly, as he says that they're about to go inside and do a game show, did you notice what he called, like, you know the host of the game show, right? You know who we're talking about here?
Yep.
Who is it?
Deco.
Right. What does Bam call Deco?
DiCamillo.
He calls him DiCamillo. I've never heard him say that. Not even
Illo. Like, he pronounced it in a weird, it's so funny you notice that too, because it drilled into my head. I was like, that just didn't sound right.
It's always supposed to be Deco, first of all, and DiCamillo as well. And he does that twice in this episode. And I was
2 times. Like, I noticed it both times. It's so weird that you noticed that too. It must be something weird that stood out because both of us picked up on that.
And at the beginning, maybe it's two different people, Dico and DiCamillo, because at the beginning of the episode when he's doing the intro, I noticed he just looked so freshly shaven. He looked like a young child, like the youngest, most like healthy version of Dico I've ever seen. So maybe we're looking at two different people. You never know. Bam says, though, we can't start the game show without a couple show girls, and he commissions Rake and Rab to do this. But when they come down the stairs, Rake is dressed up in full makeup.
Terrifying looking.
Looks terrifying. And Rab comes dressed in his Viking outfit. Rake is like legit pissed off that Rab pulled the bait and switch on him. Like he seems like he's not trying to sell this as a joke. He's actually like horrified at the fact that he's the only person dressed as a woman.
And even just a little touch of being like, hey, and Rab the barbarian. Like they gave him like the most gangster, like badass thing. It wasn't like anything else. It's like, you're a girl and you're a barbarian. And he did not want to do it whatsoever. And I was laughing so hard because he was really upset about it. You know, he did not want to do it. The only reason he did it is because Rab said he would do it too. And he was confused. He's like, why'd you answer yes so quickly? Like, why'd you agree to this? Yeah. And then sure enough, that worked out very well.
It worked out well. I love when, and I think we're going to get a lot of this because the next episode in Viva La Bam is Mardi Gras. And I think that's the two episode stretch where they take the bus to New Orleans and there's like the two buses. Some of my favorite moments in Viva La Bam and some of the best Rake yawn moments as well. When they start to realize that he doesn't play along with pranks. He legitimately gets upset, and those are the best targets to prank. And that happens a ton in the next two episodes, and this is one of them as well. And maybe this is the first time where they're like, oh shit, we can really play around with this guy because we're going to get the best of him. So we get the game show here, and the stakes are introduced. If Vito loses, Tim Glom is out in a construction truck of some sort. It's got the bucket, and he's going to smack it down on Vito's truck. He's going to destroy Vito's truck. Vito says, I've got a bunch of stuff in there. And DiCamillo says, it'll still be in there. It'll just be harder to get, which is a great line. I think Dico was on his game this episode. And, you know, coming off of last episode where he was my LVP, it was nice to see. If Phil loses, because, as they say, Phil doesn't actually care about anything except for his folder full of coupons, Ape's China cabinet is getting smashed. Did you notice anything interesting about Ape's reaction here, Chris?
Not really. Like I couldn't tell if she if it was just a fake cabinet and they're doing it for the show. Like at certain points she seemed genuinely really concerned, and other times she seemed like wide-eyed, like, oh, how could you do that? And a little smack or something. So that wide-eyed, oh, how could you, is very Ape playing along. She has that gear that she shifts in. But initially when it's introduced, that's not her vibe at all. I usually call bullshit on these things, like, oh, they're playing it up or whatever. But she looks legit mad. And when the camera cuts to Bam, he actually looks like he's regretting this. And it's like, you know, Bam is never going to back down, but he definitely knows he fucked up here. And she's like not laughing, not giving him anything. And ultimately, do I think they smashed her cabinet? Because we'll get to that at the end of the episode. No, I don't think they did. And that's why she ends up being like, oh, whatever. They're like, hey, look, it's a fake cabinet. Just play it for the camera. But if that's the case, then I don't know why Bam looked as regretful as he did. Did you pick up on that look he had as well? Yeah. The whole thing, I think part of my problem is I was spending so much time trying to figure out if that was the actual thing or not, that I kind of like got lost in the nuances of what was actually going on.
Yeah.
Because if that was actually like her, like handed down antique china, like that's
so fucked up if they did that. Man. Yeah, because you can smash Vito's truck because you can just get him a new car. Like it's fine, you know. But something with a sentimental value like that, you just can't rebuild. So we start off the quiz. This was like my least favorite part of the show, because a quiz show with no purpose. It's like you said, like you don't want to watch a competition where where none of the competitors are actually taking part. Like none of them are taking it seriously. For me, as someone who loves quizzes and I love trivia, if you don't have any logic, reason, or actual answers, I don't want anything to do with this.
It's like, okay, the answer is the joke. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah, no thanks. And then some of the jokes aren't that good. And it's like, so you're just choosing the joke you think works best. Like, kind of a bummer. But question 1, the capital of New Jersey. Vito's answer, South Jersey. Very funny. Also very dumb. And he has to drink as a punishment because they have a wheel. So if you get it wrong, you have to actually eat something or get a punishment that's involved with food. It's very Seven-esque. I know I've brought up the gluttony sin already on this podcast a couple episodes ago, but that's kind of what this reminds me of. Who knows? They may have had to eat shaved metal fillings. Do you remember that from Seven? Yeah. Vito has to drink a sardine milkshake, and he fucking loves it. He loves it. He does. It's so disgusting. And they say what's in it. There's like clam juice, sardines, strawberries, and anchovies or something, whatever it is. And he like blended, and he just. Not
and
only
he dips his hand in and starts eating the sardines out of it.
So gross. And when he turns to the camera and he's got like it would be like if you were held captive by a maniac and that maniac ate your friend and looked at you with blood on their face. Like that level of horror and just discomfort with all of the smoothie just like on his mouth, just like, what do you think? That's a great thing. Like, ugh, just fucking so unsettling. I don't want anything to do with that. Question 2, what salad dressing does Macaulay Culkin prefer? What?
Oh, I just thought of something so funny. I don't even want to say it out loud. Just remind me to text you after.
Okay. Well, interesting. Or you can't say it out loud?
No, it just had to do with, like, it was a joke that if I just dropped, like, it just would have been so perfect, but, like, I wouldn't even want to do that in public. It was fucking...
Ooh. Wow. Mr. I'm going to go out of my way to be less woke. Is now holding himself back. The hypocrite, if I've ever seen one.
Are you
you're texting you right now?
I'm just saying you could laugh when you see it.
Okay, so you'll get my live reaction. The listener will. And if I think that it's okay. I see the little dots showing up there. It shows you're sending me a message. And let's see if it comes through here. Oh, now I got a message from my girlfriend as well. Not Chris. Oh, Chris just sent me a dick pic. And he said, is this... Oh, okay. It's a very personal joke.
But
about...
that hit me, and I know I just didn't want to put it out there, but imagine
it has
that
to
just
do with
came
the
out
previous conversation.
Impromptu?
Yes.
Fuck, that would have been top notch.
Just know for the listener, it was funny. It was good. So question 2 is, what salad dressing does Macaulay Culkin prefer? Couple standard answers, and D is Neverland Ranch. Like,
it doesn't even make sense.
I'm not a comedian, but like structurally,
tossing the salad, but that does not work.
No, it doesn't. No, not even tossing a salad. It's Neverland. Like it's
because he was getting his salad tossed by Michael Jackson. I think that's what they were trying to go for, but it doesn't make sense. Be like, where's your favorite place to have salad? Or something. Right. Maybe that'd be a different story, but like,
yeah, it felt just, I don't know. Even if that structure did make sense, it's not even that funny of a joke. There's like barely wordplay in there. Anyway, Vito finally understands what this game show is supposed to be. He says D, Neverland Ranch. He gets it right. They throw a bunch of sandwiches at the guys, and then they get on to question 3, the final question. Now we're tied 2-2 in the tournament, so it all comes down to this. The final question is, what animal is best suited to be used as a weapon? Swordfish, porcupine, sawfish, exploding lobster. What are we doing here?
I like that question because I was thinking about it until the exploding lobster came in. Like, come on.
Right?
Like also, the idea of the sawfish or a swordfish used as well. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
But how do you choose which one's right?
Well, that's
you just say one. Like it was just kind of and again, this is me like, that's not how trivia works. You can't, that's not how trivia works. You can't do that. Swordfish is the answer. Phil gets it right. Ape whispered in her ear like Varys from Game of Thrones, cause she was pretty concerned about her China getting busted. And that's it. This quiz ruined my brain. This episode was a little bit dull. Vito's super pissed off. And of course,
really pissed off.
Oh, he was really pissed off. This one was real for sure.
That's my favorite part of the episode. Like he isn't joking at this point.
Uh-huh.
He like goes apes like, your fucking son is an idiot. He can do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Like, this is fucking stupid. Like he's like very like, he wasn't making a joke at all. He was definitely getting really pissed. And I just liked when he was He's like, yeah, you got a fucked up son. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I'm going to go outside and see if this is computer generated. I just thought that was so funny. That we'll see. I don't even think he spoke though. I think he said commuter generations or something like that. Like,
that's what the caption would have said. Yeah, he's pissed. And a part of it I get. And I said this earlier. It's a truck and you can replace a truck, but like some people do have a sentimental attachment to their car, like this would suck having your car trashed like this unless you were guaranteed to get a better one, like what happens to Phil's dad or to Bam's dad, Phil. What was it? The movie where they destroy his car and then they replace it with a better one afterwards?
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, I would know if he's doing this. Then I would almost be happy because I would be like, "Fuck, I'm gonna get a sicker fucking car for sure."
Yeah. Oh, honestly, 100%.
There's no way they're gonna do this and not replace it.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway here, of course, Glom can work one of those big demolition trucks, and work it really well.
Really well.
Like, what can't this guy do? He's great at it. He picks up the truck like he's about to like Undertaker slam it down. Like he's like preparing. He's like waving his arms to the audience as he's got it up there. He's working it like he's a pro, and I guess he is. But at this point, the energy is really weird in the episode. It just feels like, then they're like, oh, we destroyed Vito's car. Now we're going to destroy the China cabinet.
That's the other thing, too. If you have a competition and someone wins, you got to respect the rules of a quiz. If this is what you're playing for, you can't just break the other person's thing.
I totally get that. And I know it sounds like we're being silly when we say that. Like, guys, it's Viva La Bam. Like, whatever. But like, you've just removed all the stakes. You've removed the stakes of the competition, and everyone removed them because it seemed like no one actually cared about them.
And maybe that's why they didn't care this time. Like maybe this has happened before. If you have these stakes, what are they going to do next time you have a competition? Well, it fucking doesn't matter anyways. Like, I'm going to lose. Like, yeah, sure, I'll fucking play the game, but like, I really don't care to win or lose. I just don't want to waste energy. It's going to suck regardless.
Yeah, at the end of Kenny versus Spenny, it's not like both of them have to do the humiliation. That would suck. You want there to be some stakes. And at the end of the day, if no one seems to care about the competition while they're taking part in it, while they're putting it together, while they're getting punished for it, how are we as the audience going to care about it? Like, Why are you expecting us to be the only participants in this event that care about it? We don't. I don't. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we were in a bad mood. I don't know. If you're listening and you disagreed with it and you liked this episode, let us know. But I feel like this one was just such a fucking waste. We end off with Vito sitting on his car saying he's waiting for the insurance company. Bam says, don't worry, we got you another car. They drive it through. And this car is the ugliest thing I've seen in the episode, and I say that knowing full well that Vito and Phil undressed each other in front of the camera. Like, this car was somehow more ugly and disturbing than that scene alone.
And not only that, I love how Dunn gets out smoking a cigarette. So, like, you're going to come in, and your new car's already reeking like that somebody else's cigarette smoke.
Yeah, and we all know Dunn in cars. Remember, was it? Oh fuck! One of the Jackass episodes where he's trying to get picked up by women, but he's got like boar urine on him.
Oh yeah,
and then he's in the car smoking menthols, and they're like, "What smells?" He's like, "Oh, it's my menthol cigarettes." Like, it's not. Yeah, so who knows? Apparently, his cigarettes smell like boar piss as well. Speaking of boar, I was bored with this episode, but there's time left, I think, to do our MVPs and LVPs. Chris, are you able to scrounge together an MVP from this episode?
I mean, I'll give it to Phil because he won the competition.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's about all I got today, to be honest. It's not too much.
I think that makes sense too. The one thing I'll say about Phil is, at least in the early goings, when he's racing against Vito with the hoagie on a stick, he does like a little twirl. He was kind of like talking shit to Vito a little bit. I feel like he was trying to do his part to sell this. So I think that makes sense as MVP. Phil makes a lot of sense. In the spirit of trying to do something different, I'm giving the MVP to that chocolate cake, because it looked fucking delicious. The chocolate cake that they have. Every time I see a chocolate cake like that, though, I picture the movie Matilda. Remember Matilda? And that and the cook makes the cake out of like her blood, sweat, and tears, literally. It's the most delicious looking cake in the world, even though it's probably gross. I thought about that when I saw this cake. This is one of the most delicious looking cakes I've seen in media, so I'm going to give it to that. What about LVP, Chris?
Bam.
Okay.
For putting together this episode. Like, I really don't have much to say, to be honest. Like,
you know what? I'm giving my LVP to your MVP and LVP descriptions in this episode.
I don't blame you.
You're not giving us anything.
They didn't put in the effort. If they would have had people fucking win and actually respect the fucking rules of trivia and fucking competition, then, you know, maybe I'd put a little bit more effort in myself.
Yeah. So now you're punishing. This is just the cycle of revenge.
And then
you're punishing
our
the next
guests
people
listen
down.
to it on their way to work, and they punish one of their work members. They treat them like shit. Then that guy goes home and he beats the shit out of his wife. And then fucking their kid sees it, and their kid fucking grows up with all these fucking anger issues, and he ends up in jail. So, you know, just trying to pass.
But here's the real question.
Yeah.
Between the husband who beat his wife and the kid who goes to jail, who's got the bigger dick?
The husband who beat his wife.
Okay. I just thought I'd check. Yeah. Look, your energy is understandable, Chris. I agree. And actually, Bam was going to be my LVP as well, but I am canonically going to put it as your MVP and LVP descriptions, as I'm sure our listeners will agree with. But that's about it, Chris. Any closing thoughts on this episode or the season as it stands right now?
I like the show. So, like, the good thing is it's short and sweet, right? So even if it's bad, it's not like you're committing too much to it, you know? And it's
sure.
And it does push the pace. Like, Vito's always going to make me laugh at least a couple times per episode. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's not worth watching. Just don't, you know, like, it didn't give us much to work with, you know, like, and then, you know, like, I don't know, I have no problem watching any of these episodes, these seasons. I really do enjoy Viva La Bam in general. It's just fun. It's light. It's easily digestible.
It is easily digestible. I agree with that.
Digestible?
Easy digestible. Yeah, exactly. You know what? The one problem would be if you were watching this when it first came out is having to wait another week to watch the next episode. But the way in which you can consume it now, if you have the box set of just watching one more, man, that bad taste of a bad episode, the bad taste that's left in your mouth is washed away so fucking quickly, especially knowing that you get the Mardi Gras episode next. Like, I agree with you. This was a big miss, but in terms of like my impression of Viva La Bam, I still fucking love it. I'm still very happy that we're doing it, and I can't wait to do more.
I'm pretty sure that you actually put me onto Viva La Bam.
Is that true?
I just had this distinct vision when the Mardi Gras thing. Remember when our living room used to be in the other room, and we had that TV there, and you would like TiVo certain things, and I so remember watching that episode, like the Mardi Gras segment with you, and you were telling me about Don Vito and all this stuff. Like, I have a feeling you actually put me on the show.
I did get into it early. The more I watch it, especially the earlier episodes, the more I realize that I would have been watching from the beginning. Like, again, you mentioned PVR, like recorded television. I would record the episodes. I never owned the box set until later in my life, but I have seen most of these episodes. So I would have known about it in its early seasons. Its formative seasons are probably what left the biggest impression on me, which is why, you know, Castle Bam is so iconic to me. But I do remember this being a big thing when it came out and wanting to watch it because it was just like, oh, fuck, more Jackass. Like, put it in my veins. I'll take that anytime I can get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it, Chris. Appreciate your thanks for taking the time. Thanks for putting some thought and into your MVPs and LVPs. I really appreciate that.
Well, we'll honestly, to be honest, like, I'm legitimately so burnt out from that laugh attack. Like, it took out so much energy on me. Like, I'm honestly in like a
dead.
Like, my eyes are feeling like puffy and stuff. Like, it literally sucked the life out of me because it was just, I haven't laughed like that in a long time. So thank you for that, Mikey.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hopefully we get another one of those an episode later. Look, we didn't have a lot to break down with this week's episode, but we did hopefully give you a couple laughs, and hopefully you'll get a couple more in the following weeks when Jay joins us back. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, you can join us at JackastPod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Also send us an email, jackastpod@gmail.com. We want to field some more questions, and we want to take some questions. Let us know your impressions of Viva La Bam. Also, if you wanted to get in on that Discord that I mentioned, the Jackass Vault, it's invite only, a great community of people who are constantly talking about Jackass and sharing their thoughts and impressions of modern day Jackass and everything prior to that and everything in between. So email us jackastpod@gmail.com if you want to be a member of that, and we will send you the link if you pass the test, which everyone does. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Thanks once again. Do you want to give Jay's little outro?
Jason. Bye, I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye, I'm Mikey Aaronworth, and this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it!